What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys, and of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily, and hop in Discord. Link for that's in the description box down below.
Yes. Kicking off another one, first day of official practice, although we had a walkthrough today. We'll get into it, and of course we'll talk about this little tiny Giants offense versus our big D. We'll talk about that and more tonight here, baby, as well as Martavius Bryant, the newest receiver. He spoke today in a little more detail about his past and his future. We'll like to know what you guys think on that. But baby, as we open this up tonight, we got to shout out those that make the thing go round and round here in My Cowboys Family, like our sponsor of the week, the man Snug X. But Skeptical fan said, hold up, here's a $2 J. Lou holler.
Gotta kick things off the right way. Much love, Skeptical.
Yes, opening things up there with the $2 drop. What did the man say?
Should the Cowboys rest Turpin and play Deuce?
I think Turpin needs to play end. Maybe a little more Deuce. Maybe give Deuce another shot. A little
I think the Deuce experiment ended as quickly as it began.
Well, that would be another wasted pick by the Cowboys then. Anyways, much love, Skeptical. I'm going to update the board in a minute. He's fourth. I think he's still in fourth right now on that board. And we had other drops to kick it up. But first, let me get to the shout-outs here. The sponsor of the week, Snug X, back-to-back like our 90s Cowboys. You know why he's here. He's here 12 weeks as the Cash App King, repping that board. I mean, again, 3 months plus. Basically, if he gets to 21, he breaks the all-time record by Jason Renfro. Much love to him. And you said, Skeptical fan kicked it off tonight. He also kicked it off in the Cash App side of things, so to speak, because he is now officially, and still officially, the current Cash App leader.
That's right.
Appreciate you, Skeptical fan, as always here. Trying to take that away, that 12-week streak maybe from Snug X. But Skeptical fan, appreciate you. And he's dropped the 3, I think the 3 in the PayPal. I do have to give a shout out, though, to another person in the Cash App side, Daniel Berry Sports. Much love to you. Yesterday he dropped a $2 holler. I know he's a Rams fan, but he's part of the family here. Appreciate him. But he is, of course, second right now to Skeptical fan, who's in first on that current board. Skeptical fan also took the big win in the gifting championship side of things, and he is currently the king of that board. One of the best ways to help out the channel. So appreciate Mr. Skeptical fan on that side of things. And when you look at the leaders across the board right now, no leader on the gifting board. There's nobody gifting any memberships as of now, but we have Retro Scotty with 26 points on the stream boss, still holding that down. And of course, on the overall lead right now, I do want to shout out Bootzilla, who's back in that navy blue crew. Tammy Soltis, who's also in that navy blue crew, a longtime family member there. And they're back in the membership side of things. Appreciate you guys. But the overall leader right now is Amazing Games, repping that spot right now in first place. Appreciate you. Now, you got the super chats, the thanks button. You can jump in the membership like you heard some people there. You can gift memberships. But, baby, what about the Cash App side? There's 4 ways of getting in. We just talked about Skeptical fan doing one of those things. And you can see here.
Wait, hold up. I did another one of those things.
Yeah, one of those things we just discussed. Gifting a membership, Justin D. Now part of the family when it comes to the membership side of things and the perks that comes with that. Much love, the Skeptical fan. And congrats to Justin D. Skeptical really moving on up here, I think. Here, let me double check some numbers. And, he's getting, actually, I think this is his first drops of the week. So he's just moving up right now on the board. So much love, the Skeptical fan. But yes, that's a way of dropping. Again, he's on that board representing it. He's also representing it, I will say, with the star level and over everything level, which, by the way, we do the nightly shout-outs on that. Let me do that right now. You got Skeptical fan, Jason Renfro, Lincoln Kane, Mary Alvarez, Andy Posh, Marissa, Sparkle, De Lunatic, and Seabass. That is the star level, over everything level. Yes, Seabass making that appearance here soon as that over everything level member. And yes, back to this 4 ways of challenging Snug X in that 12-week streak. What are some of the ways that can drop the love in the Cash App kingdom?
Of course, you have the Cash App money sign My Cowboys Family, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and last but not least, the Streamlabs link lets your comment show up on screen just like a super chat.
You know how it goes. Much love to everybody in the house. Through all the ways of dropping the love and helping the channel. As I update the boards, baby, and again, there's some new emojis there. If you haven't yet tried out the new anti-giant emojis, make sure you drop them like it's hot. But outside of that, baby, let's open it up and let's shout out those that are in the house tonight with us. So, floor is yours. Let's do some shout-outs.
Of course, an extra special shout-out once again to Skeptical Fan with the gifted membership. Much
Hell
love.
yeah.
C. Bass in the house
Over
representing.
everything.
Rolando Rodriguez all the way from South Texas. Our dog also.
Representing.
Shouting you guys out. Justin D. in the place to be, who, by the way, won that gifted membership. Shout out once again to Skeptical Fan for showing the love there. Thomas Garrett, the superior Garrett. Bruce got the toxic juice. Much love. We need to have 2 touchdowns after the coin toss. Yeah, we'll end up scoring on the kickoff.
I know you missed the show last night, baby, but you kind of knew what was going to happen. The Giants have nothing, and we're going to talk about that offense. It's nothing. This should not be even close. This game.
I know that's why I said that. Yeah,
we got to still
there's
mind
no
our P's
doubt
and
about
Q's.
the fact that we need to put another 40-0 burger or something like that on the Giants.
I agree.
So, anyway, keep rolling with the shout-outs. Like I said, Asmodeus, much love to you. Trying to work my way back. We have, even you, little Dallas Cowboy, thanks for coming through. Gerald Chavez, much love. El Cool in the house. Freedom First was first. Good for him. Let me see here. Yeah, I think that's everybody here as of now. So as more people kind of trickle in, of course, I will continue to give them their proper due and shout outs.
Yeah, hit up a couple of comments there if you could.
Of course. Yeah, Justin D said, we've got to win by 17 points, so that makes this game interesting. I mean, like we kind of said before, I think, isn't the point spread something like 15?
15 and a half.
Yeah, so that means that we should win by around 3 touchdowns, which sounds about right.
Yeah. Or 2 touchdowns, 2-point conversions. But yeah,
honestly, I absolutely could see the Cowboys / McCarthy really trying some cute shit in this game.
Interesting.
So that's just I guess a hunch, a speculation. Call it what you want. So yeah, that's just kind of a little thing there. By the way, Justin D. I wasn't even in the chat, and then I got it. So yeah, guys, again, as long as you turn on the ability to accept gifted memberships, could happen at any moment.
Yeah, and hey, that's. I hope we can put the exclamation point. I think gifts, and that's how you can. It tells you how you can open up ability to get gifted memberships here, and and you have to do it for every single channel you guys are on. So for this one, you have to set it on. As long as you have it on, you can get one of these gifted memberships and be part of the Navy Blue crew. It's a little taste of what else you can get in the silver level, star level, and over everything level. So yeah, much love there. Any last comments before we roll into this thing?
I'm trying to roll back here. Skeptical Fan said, I guess that Turpin's injury isn't that bad. Seabass right before that said, Mr. SCF doesn't sound too cheery. Are we in for some disappointing news?
No,
not any more
really.
Disappointing than usual.
Yeah, we're going to talk
right?
about Tyron Smith. I want to know what you think about it, baby, because we're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. And it's going to be a quickie stream again. Last night was kind of a quickie. Tonight's going to be similar to that. It's up to you guys, I guess, to make it a longer stream. But we will be hitting the comments, the thoughts in the chat, and of course, continuing the season here against the Giants. That it's a game, it's a must-win in my opinion, and it's a must-win by a lot. We just can't get past them like we did the Chargers. You know what I mean? We can't play sloppy and just win by 3 or some shit. Exactly. That's unacceptable to me.
That's cutting it way too close. Like we said, we should lay the smackdown on this team in a biblical fashion. Okay.
Yeah, we did a 40-0 the first time.
Yeah, you have to call
should be
CPS for
should be worse
child
than that.
abuse.
I'm not getting mad, it's not, but it should be worse than that. So, by the way, Skeptical Fan is in first place now, officially on the gifting board. So he's in the gifting board lead. He's got the Cash App lead. A little mini takeover by Skeptical Fan.
So put some respect on that name.
And I see on my side he's dropping a $2 holler here. Keep the streak going and keep moving up. Although he's still there in that spot, but I think 4th spot, but he's still getting up there. Much love to Skeptical Fan with that $2 holler. What did the man say?
He said play Trey Lance and Deuce in the 4th quarter.
Trey Lance would have to be. You have to put Trey Lance in as a non. It had to be an active player in this game because as our 3rd quarterback, it would not work. If you put him as our 2nd quarterback and have Cooper Rush as our emergency, I guess you can do that. But if Dak gets hurt in the game, do they want to throw Trey Lance in there? So no, that's a thing. So you have to keep all 3 quarterbacks active in the game. And then you can have Trey Lance get some snaps. Same thing with Deuce. Of course, he's been inactive the last 3-4 weeks. So, by the way, there's a skeptical fan drop. Much love to him.
It's officially, of course. And I already read that comment there about the Trey Lance and Deuce.
Yes. Good question. I just want to clarify. That's why. But yes, much love to him. Justin D, skeptical fan, the Nightbot, Seabass, everybody in the house. Let's get it rolling here on My Cowboys fan. Now, look, usually it's all NFL first, but this kind of NFL news kind of, it's also Cowboy relevant here. Sunday's Cowboy-Eagle game averaged 27.1 million viewers on Fox. That is officially this year's most watched NFL game of the season on any network. Again, that star. Again, we were fifth. We were only the fifth highest game watched this year overall in the NFL. It was the Jets. That's fallen off now to sixth because this game is now number one on the list. So yeah, Cowboys-Eagles. I know we beat the Jets at least, but with this one we took the L in a hard-fought game. I guess a lot of fans that are not Cowboy fans and don't watch the Cowboys as much, the rest of the NFL, they probably saw this game and said, you know what? The Cowboys look like a top team even with the loss. While Cowboy fans like myself, a little bit more like, hey, we got a long way to fix this thing still. I still think longer than people realize it outside of the Cowboys or in some Cowboy fans themselves. So look. That's again, Cowboys top shelf when it comes to viewership. Now, when it comes to the Eagles after this game, they really came out of this game with Dallas Goedert banged up. He's going to be out for at least 4 weeks. You're going to see,
really unfortunate injury.
Yeah, and injuries really because they had other guys. Darius Slay, he should be all right, but he got banged up. Bradbury got banged up. The defense got banged up. Nakobe.
At least I'm just saying, at least we know that we played a real
rougher, tougher game.
Tough, like you said, football was. Sorry, I didn't mean to steal your words. So you kind of said it.
Yeah.
Before me, and now I got it stuck in my head.
Yeah, but also Nakobe Dean, their starting linebacker, also got injured, and his injury is something we know about from our players, right? He was diagnosed with a Lisfranc sprain. That's what happened to Jordan Lewis, of course. Cut them out for a while, and kind of looks like he lost a step or two. But anyways, Nakobe Dean, who's second year. He calls the defensive signals for the Eagles defense to start this year. He's going to see a foot specialist to determine the course of action. But again, of course, he's going to go on IR. And honestly, I think this means they didn't say it, but this is his season, obviously. It's going to take a good full year for him to get even close to getting back. So Kobe Dean looks like he's done for that Eagle defense. They're banged up on the Eagle side. Of course, they got a bye week. And then coming out of that, they got 4 tough games. So we'll see what happens with us being the final of the 4 tough games for them. Now, free agent pass rusher out there floating around. These are all Cowboy relevant. But there's a new guy out there, right? It could be a free agent if you want to pick up a pass rusher at the last second to make a playoff run, like Jason Pierre-Paul. Now, I know he's missing some fingers. He's old. But right now, he's one of the top pass rushers still available out in the open market, the free agency market. And he's willing to sign, he said today, he's willing to sign with the practice squad of a playoff contender. Last year he started 13 games for the Ravens. Remember that. So he obviously still can put up some production. An option for the Cowboys in rotation to go into the playoffs? Just saying. Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones probably see if they can get him signed for the cheapest amount of money possible. Again, practice squad with a deal impending if he gets on the 53, right? Will Jerry Jones even bother with that? I doubt it, but he's out there. He's old. I'm not a big fan, but, I'd say who do you cut? But some people say, we'll bring somebody in. This guy started 13 games last year for the Ravens. So, possible there. Now, who did the Cowboys truly bring in? Well, we brought him in yesterday, and today officially on paper, pen to paper.
Someone called him day old bread in our chat. and
who, Pierre-Paul?
Yeah. No. Or the guy we just...
No, I didn't even bring him up yet. So I think you're talking about Jason Pierre-Paul.
No, it was earlier before the stream started.
Oh, okay.
Because since you mentioned that the next thing we're going to talk about, I just said I'm laughing because someone called this upcoming guy we're about to talk about day old bread.
Boom. There he is. Now, day old bread or not, I don't know if he's day old bread. He's 31 years old, but he's been sitting in the back of your shelf for a long ass for 5 years.
Bread, but
5 years.
Is it as good as bread fresh
I think
out of the oven?
5 years sitting in the back of your pantry is where this guy's been kind of more of a relevance here. But look, newly acquired wide receiver Martavius Bryant. Guess what jersey number he's going to be wearing as part of the practice squad? You can overlap numbers. He's going to be wearing number 17.
Nah.
Precious record-breaking kicker.
Hater.
So Martavius Bryant will be wearing number 17 on the practice field. on the practice squad for the Dallas Cowboys. If he gets elevated to a game day opportunity, if he's one of the elevated guys, he would have to obviously wear a different number than number 17. That's Brandon Aubrey. The game day number I'm hearing is going to be in the 80s. There's a couple of choices there. I think 80 being one of them. But there's a couple of choices he can grab in there in the 80s that you'll see him probably having to wear if he gets elevated. If he doesn't, he stays in the practice squad and he doesn't play in a game, he's number 17. You guys feel me on that? You guys follow that? Good. Now, as far as the Cowboys today, all right, no practice. A walkthrough is what was the practice outdoors, which the Cowboys, it's strange. Usually the Cowboys do rest their veteran guys. These are vet days, right? Interesting that today we just did a whole walkthrough. We just took it real easy.
Yeah, so it was like a team vet day in a way.
Well, here's the thing. Team held a walkthrough today on Wednesday. Tomorrow's practice, you might see this guy on the field. He's ready to go on the field is what I'm hearing when it comes to Martavis Bryant. The goal is for him to get into football shape and, he's going to work into Thursday's practice. That's what it looks like. But, again, today, walkthrough. So let's keep it kind of turned on that for a second. Walkthrough day, taking it easy. And that means probably Martavis Bryant as well. And they opened the locker room. Before McCarthy spoke, they actually opened the locker room. And Martavis Bryant, he's on the screen for a reason. He spoke to the reporters today. Fresh, new wide receiver picked up. They haven't played him since 2018. We talked about the 6 foot 6 foot guy, runs a 40 and a 4.4, I think. He's big, but he's also fast. He also hasn't played. He played in the XFL, a couple things here and there, but since 2018, the Raiders, before that was the Steelers, he was very good there, had a big upside, and the weed took him out for a while, right?
Running a 4.4.
Exactly. So, again, what did he say, baby, today? Now representing the star, new Cowboy wide receiver Martavis Bryant spoke. What did he say?
The sky is the limit for me. I know I'm 31, but I'm still fast, still big. I still want to play football. I haven't lost anything. It's more of a prove it point to me. I got a lot of doubters out there. It's more of me proving to myself that I still got it.
Well, again, he's going to have a chance, at least starting at the practice squad level, right? Now, what about the last 5 years? He hasn't played football. What is he been doing? Where's life taken him?
He said to places you can't even imagine. Some really dark places and times. I really would not like to talk about it, but I've worked hard to get through those moments. I think we can sum that up as not well. In the sense of, like, he obviously did not have a good time the last 5 years.
Right. I mean,
not being in the league.
Right. The NFL was major depression for him, not being in it, failing of his potential, right? And, again, overweed, which to me is archaic, stupid, but
no
it is
offense,
the
but
rules
I have
have
to
to be followed.
imagine that is part of the reason why he had such a hard time with it, right? Like, it's not like other players, right? They get into shenanigans, like they're not in the league anymore, whatever. It might be hard to accept, but at least you know that you actually kind of really fucked up. Like, I'm sorry, but even I agree that the weed, should not have been as big of a deal. So
the rules had to be followed. He broke them, and he kept breaking them. Like Randy Gregory at least slowed down.
Yeah,
breaking
he
those
actually
rules.
gave a lot of credit to DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
For helping him kind of get back on the right path and kind of keep himself focused. Hopkins would invite him to go work out with him and kind of gave him that motivation to kind of say, like, I do want to play football again. I do have that desire.
This happened during when DeAndre Hopkins was with the Cardinals. Now he's, of course, with the Tennessee Titans. Had some good weeks there with them, But my point is that he kind of used that cowboy working out, kind of selling that himself to the Cowboys. Maybe Martavis Bryant also kind of saw how he could maybe sell himself to the Cowboys. Either way, the Cowboys were interested and they bought it. They bought his workout that he did, and he did a great job supposedly. But anyways, yes, DeAndre Hopkins, Clemson teammate, right? He got him back on the right path, and Bryant says he has to do work still to be ready to play.
Yeah, like he knows he's not in ready to go football shape. Adding in their quote, I've got to get in football shape. I'm in shape, but I've got to get in football shape. Football shape is different. He did throw out there that he's been running 22 to 23 miles per hour in some of his workouts.
If you look at
serious top tier contending speed there, I think isn't our fastest guy Kevontae Turpin, and wasn't he clocked at around 20 to 22?
Those numbers. The key is for him is that he actually, if you look at the video that he put out there, and I actually posted a couple of portions of that video on the short section. You'll see the computer screen when they show the computer screen, and he's going to that 22, 23 mile per hour range, at his top speeds there. So he still got the speed with the Cowboy. We got Brandon Cooks. We're not using his speed. I'm hearing a lot of red zone possibilities with this guy. Taller, bigger, and has the speed. You may see him being utilized. That's maybe the mindset from McCarthy and Will McClay for picking him up right now. So, again, when it comes to Martavis Bryant, I know he was asked about the emotions that he had walking into the Cowboys facility, with this whole long journey back. If you've been to the Cowboy facility at the start, it's awesome.
It's been 5 long years, and then you get to walk into the Star to kind of kick off your football career.
How do you feel?
Right? He said it felt good. A little nervous, right? More nervous than anything, but nerves are always good. I took advantage of the opportunities, and I'm grateful.
And that's awesome to know. And again, a guy like this.
I get what he means. Nervous is good, by the way.
Yeah, I understand. He's nervous, but he's anxious. He's ready to go. He's rearing to go, and he's focused. And I think that's the thing with him. He's hungry. He knows the loss now. I think that's the one good thing you can say. That maybe he's one of those underdog situations. That little, knowing the loss and going through those dark times, kind of like Cavante Turpin in some way. The other side is bad, so this is it. You got to go. So that's an advantage in him, and he's got the ability, natural ability. Let's hope he can somehow show us what he can do on that field. Again, I am not putting high expectations here. Some guys, some out there, some fans are. I'm not. But it'd be nice to see him give any kind of, help this team in any way. I'll take it. Now, again, when it comes to him and what he said, it's a lot of things about the mistakes he made, the marijuana violations that he continuously broke. And, he went through a little bit more deeply about, what he's going to do to try to help this team right now. What is he going to be able to do? And also, not playing, rebounding from the situation, putting that work, growing from his mistakes. How's this future looking? So right now, the present and the future. What did he have to say, Martavis Bryant, about all this?
So, first of all, as far as, what he's going to be doing with us, he said, whatever they need me to do, I'm going to do it.
All right.
I'm really just here to learn and get better. Whatever happens, happens. I'm going to give it my all on the field and just go from there. All I can do is take care of my responsibilities on the field and take care of my business.
Hey, again, like I said, good attitude to come into your new team, starting a new journey back here.
I agree, and obviously
a lot of rough times in the past.
Yeah, and just a quick side note. If he ever does get to the point where he is actually active and stuff like that, there's always special teams. Don't forget about that.
Yeah. Big guy. Yeah.
He had it in there. I've been through a lot over the last few years that I haven't played ball, getting down on myself, wanting to give up on football, but at the end of the day, I had to look myself in the mirror and face my own demons. I put the work in, and I'm very proud of it. My mind and my mentality about how I go about my business, I'm not so immature off the field anymore. I grew up a whole lot over the last few years. Just how I used to carry myself off the field, I don't do those things no more.
Again, good to see him moving away from that. Similar to the Randy Gregory situation, people around him insulated him from the bad friends and people he hung out with when he was in the weed world, so to speak. And that's kind of now good to see, at least Martavis Bryant, no matter what happens, he looks like he's moved on from that and at least overcame those demons for now. So good to hear from him.
Yeah,
and good comment. Any thoughts on him, maybe, as we move on from Martavis? Because Mike McCarthy in his talk today actually did bring up Martavis Bryant. I'll say that. I'll tell you what he said after you said.
I still can't help but feel like he is, day old bread. It is not any offense to him. I think that he's pretty aware and cognizant of the fact that he is more or less day old bread, and that he has to show that he is now fresh from the oven type of situation. So honestly, I don't expect him to. We already kind of had this discussion when we first heard that the Cowboys were considering him. It's not like he's going to go out there and replace Tolbert. He's definitely not going to go out there and replace Michael Gallup.
At best, he'll be our sixth guy behind Turpin, and Tolbert. At best, he'll go in there and replace a Brooks.
It's funny. I actually could see him basically playing almost a Turpin-like role, not
as a bigger red zone receiver.
Yeah, exactly. Basically,
a specialist.
The few handful of snaps that Turpin always gets on offense. Basically, replace Turpin with Bryant in that kind of scenario or situation.
That seems to be the way the offense with McCarthy you got specialized players that use a little more than just Kellen Moore for one play, and it's going to be them in that play. So Yeah, I mean,
clown show project player. Oh, Raul.
what, him? Who said that?
Raul.
Much love, Raul. There's a true opinion I think is valid. It feels like a clown show hype player to me.
Pioneer saying, sup, but this is the best that Jerry's willing to do for the fan base. I mean, guys, this is the equivalent of, you're at your job. You guys not only did great, you guys are killing it. You doubled your numbers. You did all this stuff, and then your job tells you, hey, we want to reward you and show you guys how much we appreciate you. And then they throw you a pizza party, and it's not even like good pizza. They're bringing in like Cece's Pizza or something. How appreciated do you feel?
That's not very appreciated.
So this is definitely giving me cold pizza at the pizza party vibes, right? So honestly, guys, you have to remember, Will McClay is given metrics and parameters.
By who, may I ask? By who?
No, honestly, it seems like, obviously, Jerry and Steven, but, from everything we've heard, too, and obviously McCarthy and Quinn are probably chiming in, but since that trickles upwards, we don't know what the final word is as far as, like, hey, look for these types of guys, right? But if McCarthy says, hey, we need more of a bigger specialist physical receiver, find me someone who can fit onto the scheme and fits what we're looking for. It's like, Will McClay will present all of the guys that fit that criteria.
He does a great job.
But the Joneses are the ones who pick from that list.
That's the thing. The Joneses are the ones that say, here's $500,000. Get me the best you can get, Will McClay. Give me a guy who can help our red zone. He brings this guy in, and I can't fault Will McClay. He can't trade. He can't. You can't make any. This is all in the Joneses' hands. So he gets us this guy. Now, listen. You got to remember, the high upside, the red zone situation, that's the roll of the dice on a guy with very low risk. Very low risk for him. So why wouldn't you sign him? I agree. You should sign him. But is he a difference maker? Fuck no. Let's be honest. And that's all I'm saying. I think that's the reality of it.
Cracking me up in the chat. So first of all,
clown show?
That is like on a different level. He said, MCW, so right. I got invited once to a barbecue. They told me to bring the meat.
That's what it feels like with the Joneses. Yeah, I know.
Pioneer said, 31, not to leave for 5 years, but welcome to America's $8 billion organization. Hey.
I mean, you need practice squad players. I mean, you might as well throw them in there. That's not my problem, Pioneer. The problem is the hype machine of Jerry and Steven and some of the fans that buy into the fact that this is like the savior to the receiving court. No, it's not. Luckily, it's a lot less fans than usual.
Bruce got the toxic juice saying, you have no idea how tired I am of Little Caesars hot and ready. I
was going to say about Jerry.
I can only imagine. So now Little Dallas Cowboys said, I hope they do bring in Little Caesars, not just because my name is the lunatic in the house. Much love to you.
Lunatic
lost in translation.
Yes.
A quick way usually to fix the whole notification problem, basically turn off the notification alerts here for MCF and then turn them back on.
Yeah.
So
sometimes you have to unsub and then resubscribe sometimes. But
restarting your computer.
No.
So anyway, back to you, baby.
Yeah,
I said, I thought that was
some great comments from the family. Let's keep it moving here on MCF because we do have to talk about Mike McCarthy. You see him standing right behind Martavius Bryant, and he spoke about Martavius Bryant. Yeah, right there, Mike McCarthy at his press conference.
I would hope so, right?
Well,
he probably chimed in and had some kind of say over him coming on the team.
I mean, this is the thing. He was one of the guys that, obviously, he also has limited stuff to work. He's not the GM. He can't make. I hear sometimes people say, "Well, McCarthy ain't making trades." Yeah, he don't make trades. He's not the guy that makes trades for the Cowboys. It's run by him sometimes and his input and Dan Quinn's input and Will McClay's input. But in the end, it's the Joneses that make the trades. That's just the way it is, and it's not. McCarthy got to work with what he's given. So he's given. Yeah, exactly. And he's got this. He got Martavius Bryant, of course, red zone, 6'4", 4'4", in the fucking 40. Everything looks good other than the 5 years being out of the NFL. But McCarthy's not sure about basically if this guy here can help this season or not when it comes to Martavius Bryant. He was asked. He said that Bryant did a nice job in his first day with the team, and he's going to have his first full practice on Thursday. So, again, that's going to be, we know today was a walkthrough. Tomorrow is the first true practice, not just for everyone, but for also Martavius Bryant. Kirk Burning in the house. Much love to Kermit the Frog. Kirk, much love to you, man. And as always.
He said gang, gang.
Go Cowboys. As again, I know that's the, that would be the Niners, it feels like, right? A little bit. The Niner chants. very similar to that. Much love, Kirk, and go Cowboys.
Thank you, Kirk. Appreciate you. But
well,
yeah,
I think
he did mean to say. I think he did mean to say go Cowboys. It's okay. We'll forgive you the typo.
Yeah, for sure.
It happens, right? Oh, so by the way, Aztec Aguilar 04 is saying, could we possibly see Bryant next weekend versus the Panthers?
Against the Panthers, possibly. I don't think it went against the Giants this week. Although the Giants game or the Panther game, it'd be a nice chance to get him in there. It's more about how is he progressing, learning the system, the scheme, and if he will get a chance to play. If the game is a blowout, then he gets a chance to play. If he's active, if he's elevated. I don't think this week, but next week is definitely a better chance, for sure.
Asmodeus said Plaxico Burress type.
Plaxico Burress, yeah.
Burress, sorry.
It could be a little bit. He's a bit on the bigger side.
The Lunatic is adding in there too. 6'4", 215-pound red zone threat with a huge catch radius with little risk. Yeah. I like it.
That's what I'm saying. It's a deal you definitely do. It's not a deal you say, nah, I don't think so. It's a deal you do. That's it. So.
And thank you, Eric Wallace, for your hello and hi. Raul saying D-Hop or Mike Evans would have been the better pickup.
Then
but what the Lunatic added in there is, of course,
trade.
part of the problem. He said if only the front office were this active before the trade deadline.
There you go. I mean, again, that's what they do.
The problem
we know
is
what the front office does when it comes to this.
I know, but the problem is that before the trade deadline, even, free agents are more expensive. Like, even if it's just a little bit, obviously their price goes up. So I think after the trade deadline passes, it's kind of like, you're picking the
leftovers.
The day old, you're picking up the day old fish to make in your special.
Thing is, he was just put into the back reinstated, so that's another reason why he came up now. But I don't think the Cowboys are waiting to make or break their season on Martavis Bryant being reinstated. That'd be kind of silly, I think. But either way,
I agree on that.
McCarthy said we're going to see him on Thursday, tomorrow. And here's what he said about Martavis Bryant helping this season or next season. Some of you guys are asking about this. But yeah, I mean...
basically, when can we expect to see him contribute in any way?
So, when it comes to Martavis Bryant, McCarthy said this. Clearly understand what he's been through with the reinstatement and so forth. This is a huge opportunity for him. I just want to make sure he has the support and what he needs to be successful. He obviously has a big task ahead of him just from the standpoint of language, meaning the play calling and the verbiage there. He said, quote, this time of year, it's tougher, obviously, than coming in April. So if he came, of course, at the beginning of the season, you're going to pick it up and be in the mix. Now he has to learn it all new. It's going to take a little longer. So, again, you think about next week, that might be pushing it. You might have to wait to the freaking Thanksgiving game or more realistic, maybe in the Seattle game. And that's only if we have a lead big enough that he makes it into the game. So we have to wait and see. It depends on how fast things work. But he is physically ready. He's got a not yet football shape ready.
Which he acknowledged, you said. And
he has to be also Cowboy offensive knowledge ready, which that's the farthest thing away right now.
One of those little points there by McCarthy just made me realize the Cowboys actually have personal experience in having players come back from specifically being kicked out of the league for weed.
Oh, yeah.
So we're one
Cowboys
of the few teams
versed.
that actually has the experience in that. And say what you want, but we did actually help Randy Gregory re-transition back into the NFL. Yeah. And even though it wasn't necessarily with us and he had his other situations, we did successfully manage to get him back on track, playing,
and he did himself as well.
Yeah, even for Gregory,
got him a big contract, and now we helped him go to the Niners. We helped him so he can help the Niners. Anyways,
just saying that another way where you could easily see the Cowboys, I don't know, just being able to lend that type of support to Bryant. So.
Yeah, Martavis Bryant. Coming back after the suspension situation, he also, again, this is what McCarthy said about Bryant, quote, everything is still to be determined. Will McClay and the personnel staff was looking at him last week. We thought this would be a good opportunity to take a look at him, and we'll see how it goes. When it comes to, again, guys, that's the end of the quote about Martavis Bryant from Mike McCarthy. So, again, it just looks like the Cowboys are going to take it slow. He's still getting in football shape. So I would say I wouldn't hold out hope to see him anytime soon. He's number 17 right now. He'll be number 80-something if he gets elevated to a game. It might take a couple of weeks or even longer. We'll have to wait and see. Now, McCarthy then questions and thoughts about this game coming up this week against the Giants. A 15.5, 16-point favorite we are in Dallas. Mike McCarthy said this about facing the Giants this week, quote, "I think the biggest thing in this type of game is keeping your eye on the ball. We need to get win number 6. We can go 6-3 here after 10 weeks. He said, quote, "We need to take care of business." No doubt. And we better take care of business against a shitty Giants team. Now, McCarthy said this about this is interesting, baby. I want you to kind of focus on this because this is kind of what you've talked about in the past, bringing up managing the players, vet days and all that stuff. Again, today was unusual. The Cowboys did not hold their usual Wednesday practice.
Yeah, we
had a walkthrough.
Like a team vet day.
Yeah, it was a walkthrough day. McCarthy said that he is, quote, "trusting the numbers with an eye ahead at the back-to-back Thursday games to close out November." Of course, after the Thanksgiving game, which is a 3-day rest in between the Carolina game, we get Carolina, we get Washington 3 days later, and then a week later, we get the Seahawks. We're talking about like 3 games in a span of like 11 days. So McCarthy is seeing this. He knows this from last year and the year before, how tough it is, grueling on the team. So he said, with an eye ahead of this back-to-back Thursday and these 3-day break games between Carolina and Washington for Thanksgiving, he said, quote, "There's numbers that are looked at. You definitely have to chart out the long game in this 17-game season." McCarthy said switching the practice schedule from morning to late afternoon is based off of those GPS numbers you talked about.
Okay, so basically giving them like what? Even more time to recover in between, right?
Yeah.
Like instead of practicing in the morning, you're practicing in the afternoon?
Yeah, he said, again, evaluations from over the last 2 seasons using these numbers is how they felt taking it this year going into December. Like to really rest them up at the end of November so we can really go gung-ho in December into the playoffs fully healed up. I think that's or at least as healed as you can be coming off this tough 11-day stretch.
Another tiny little factor in all of this too, and it's just the way that the schedule lined up, but obviously it still tracks with McCarthy's eye on the future upcoming Thursday matchups. But it's the fact that we just played the Eagles, and like we said, we played a very physical game. Not saying we're not a physical team, but even more so than usual, we had offense, defense, and special teams out there, really playing a very physically adept game.
Yeah, and it showed,
so obviously
it showed on the Eagles a lot, too.
Exactly.
Right?
Like we were, unfortunately, landing lots of bumps and bruises on the Eagles. We somehow managed to get out of that without any kind of serious or major injuries, but it doesn't mean that doesn't take a toll.
Yeah.
So,
and again,
there's a lot of also, like, on offense and defense both. I'm just saying, like, they both played, like, a good chunk of time, and it's not like it was ever kind of easy, chill football. It was like just very intense game. You got also
a very intense game. That might have factored into it, but again, those GPS numbers that you discussed about how the Cowboys track, how much work and effort they put in practices specifically. You can't really do that in games, I don't think, but in practices, I think that is when McCarthy looks at the numbers from last year at this time and saw guys maybe working those numbers lower. And now he's like, you know what? Rather than they get lower at the end of November, let me focus on that now. It's smart, it's science, it's analytics. So hopefully this pays off for the Cowboys, not just in December, but for the long run into January and maybe beyond.
Knock on wood, but like I said, we have managed to avoid more injuries than I think most. I'm just saying, like we've stayed relatively healthy for the most part. Obviously, we've taken our hits and stuff like that, but I'm just saying that it's. Obviously, whatever McCarthy's doing in that regard does seem to be working, is what I was trying to say. It's reflecting in our injury numbers. And we've heard now from several of our players, including like our veteran offensive linemen, that, this is actually really great. I feel great.
It's great to know.
When Tyron Smith says, I feel better than ever.
It's great to know. And speaking of, baby, you got the guy right out of my mouth here. He spoke about Tyron Smith. And you see him on our front cover. He is the main point, the focal point of this really discussion tonight. Tyron Smith, because he's banged up. He got a neck stinger. He's got an arm brace. He's got a leg brace. He's got a brace and everything. He's got a body brace. The point is for Tyron Smith is we gotta manage him, maintain him. How is this going to be done here? As you see in the title, what's the maintenance process for Tyron Smith? And we got a clue of what's going to happen. So Mike McCarthy spoke on this, guys, today, basically saying this. With these GPS numbers, Tyron Smith last week did not practice. He only participated in a mock game, which is a walkthrough, basically 2 walkthroughs. He did not practice any physical way last week at all before returning to help the Cowboys take on the Eagles. And he played incredible football with no practice. Tyron Smith had his highest graded game of the season, an 80.5 per PFF, against the best defensive front we faced this year. So I'm just saying, Tyron Smith, without practice, dominated an Eagle defensive line that is very good. McCarthy said, based on these things, the GPS numbers, that the Cowboys are really, truly considering not practicing left tackle Tyron Smith during the week for the rest of the season. He's going to just get game day work. He just said this.
Why did
he
it
said
take like 17,000 years for this
Thank
to be
you.
figured
I know
out?
you didn't know this was. I knew you didn't know this was coming, but I wanted to bring it to you and pop it off to you like this because this, he said, is definitely an option. End quote. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. They're considering not practicing him that much, if at all, during the week. He might be just playing. He might be playing football for maybe the last weeks of the season and then the playoffs. That's it. He might get 2 weeks of football left in his season.
He should be doing walkthrough practices for the rest of the year.
I agree. And that's what I'm trying to say. He'll be in mock game and walkthrough practices, and that is all you'll see Tyron Smith. And everything, any kind of physical practice on Wednesdays or Thursdays when he does this, he will not participate in any of that shit. None, 0.0 for the rest of the season. And that's the way you make. And I do think that is the best way of maintaining and keeping Tyron Smith in his best health.
Again,
am I wrong?
I have to, I guess, thank the new analytics people we brought in because we weren't doing this before and we are doing this now.
They finally woke up.
I have to imagine that those are some of the analytics that have made McCarthy go, okay, this is the best course of action. But I have to imagine as well that, you have to give a huge credit here to Tyron Smith himself. If he was not the type of consummate player that he was, would not be possible.
Oh yeah,
no other type of player can rest all week and then look elite every Sunday.
No, that's not a normal human right there. So Tyron Smith is above the knowledge of he's a medical marvel. Much love the skeptical fan with that 1-2 J. Lou $2 holler right there.
Do you know what he said?
I know that he brought Retro Scotty to 12 points. Roger Staubach representation. What did skeptical say?
Why did Aubrey mess up that kick against the Eagles?
The Aubrey? The kick?
It still bounced in.
Oh, he hit the gulp on the extra point.
So I'm assuming you do mean the kick and not the kick off. But we'll go ahead and touch on both real quick. Mainly weather-related reasons. I know it was kind of windy and he was kicking into the wind for that extra point or field goal attempt or whatever. But again, luck was on Aubrey's side because it bonked right in there.
Yeah.
We were set.
I'm not really sure if it was a hold or
not so great though. It wasn't a hold. It was just a bad kickoff by him. Like he
shanked it to the corner. Yeah,
fuck it up. I'm not sure if we were kicking against the wind as well, just because I can't remember which side of the field it was going. But even Aubrey can't be perfect every single time. But the good thing is that special teams was able to kind of make up for that. Actually, no, they did score on that shorter field. So actually, I take that back.
Another play was a penalty also by...
it was a comedy of errors there. So actually, I take that back. Unfortunately, Aubrey's...
They played poorly. The special team.
Error did end up costing us points. So something to consider, but... The
reasoning, though, for Aubrey, I mean, we don't really know. The thing I do know is it was not really mentioned much by Bones in the press conference. He didn't really... It sounds like it's just regular football kicking situations that happen.
Again,
one cost us big, the other one bonked
8, 9, 10. Like, what week was that again? And I was just saying, like, what week was it?
9?
9, yeah. So we're week 9, and Aubrey's basically had
almost perfection.
2 mistakes the entire season.
Yeah.
And the
3,
last
I guess,
one, and the last one was basically in week 1.
Yeah.
So
and then 2 more.
Honestly, that kind of consistency and the fact that Bones said this I think a week or 2 ago, but that one of the things that makes Aubrey as good as he is the fact that he basically resets himself after every play, good or bad. It's like he's starting from 0 and he's able to completely let go of any mistakes so he can just focus on doing it right the next time.
I mean, Aubrey, though, with all that, still top kicker in the NFL right now, right? So, go ahead.
Side note, Seabass said Aubrey has more points scored than Gallup.
I laugh, but it's not a surprise. Kickers do get a lot of points, this Gallup has been getting 0.0 points. Is the other problem.
Fernando Rodriguez, much love.
Yeah.
So
always repping it here with us.
There you go.
So, hey, by the way, McCarthy, I didn't want to finish. I didn't finish yet on the Tyron Smith situation because he actually spoke about.
He said more.
He said more, not just about Tyron Smith, but also Tyler Smith.
Okay.
Both these guys. He said that the left side of the offensive line between tackle Tyron Smith and guard Tyler Smith, quote, had the best performance I've seen since I've been here. Those two guys it would be great if they played a lot of football together. And again, this has been referenced, kind of still bringing it up in the Tyron Smith situation, where Tyron Smith, by him playing more, it's going to help the whole left side of that line, the whole offensive line with that. It's just with Tyler, with the Smith and Smith company right there, Tyron and Tyler. That you want to see them out there as long as possible, as often as possible together. That's why he's maintaining and managing Tyron Smith without practicing basically for the rest of the season, any kind of physical practices. So we got a breakdown there from McCarthy about what went down, and when I look at the injury report today, guys, let me do that for you guys here. Injury report for the Giants-Cowboy game here. There were 6 guys on the list today. 2 of them were at full practice. J-Ron Kurtz with that toe from last week, full practice, great news.
Agreed.
Tyler Biotish at center had an ankle tweak, full practice for him. Great news for both of those guys. All right, even on the injury report, hopefully there's no setbacks and they're able to play full blast against the Giants. Then we had 4 other guys that were limited or did not practice. We had the 2 guys that were limited: Marquise Bell, linebacker, with the calf injury, and Osa Odigizua with a hamstring injury. Both these guys, you got to keep an eye on these hamstring soft tissue injuries, the calf issue. These are soft tissue. They can linger. Will the Cowboys hold them out, some of these guys, against the Giants? Is it worth it with the way McCarthy's looking at the GPS and how much they're? Is it smart to get these guys playing now as we're getting ready for a back-to-back 3, Panthers and then Thanksgiving Washington game? That's going to be, 2 games in 5 days. So with the Cowboys going to manage that a little bit differently with these guys that maybe are, banged up now? We'll see. We got to keep an eye on Osa. Got to keep an eye on Marquise Bell. Both of them were limited in practice. Both of them soft tissue injuries. And then, of course, we know Cavante Turpin did get injured, guys, in that game, his shoulder against the Eagles. He was listed on the injury report with a shoulder injury.
Okay.
Did not participate in practice today. It sounds like it's more precautionary. Again, it was a walkthrough, but maybe he was getting some stuff done there.
He did end up getting, obviously, a full rest day today.
Oh, yeah. So, everyone did, but yeah, exactly. Like you said, he didn't even do the
walkthrough.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He got even more of a rest. And honestly, maybe it's a Tyron Smith-esque situation in the sense that, maybe he obviously doesn't practice or really do anything with the team, and he's still able to play this weekend. But I have to admit that even I think it might be prudent for the Cowboys to
hold him out of
maybe
practice
let him sit out just so he can get fully healthy. But obviously, we, don't really know how he's feeling as far as from himself directly. Yeah. So
listen, also, the last guy that didn't practice, baby, is Tyron Smith. He did not practice today. Nothing to do with his neck. An illness.
Shit.
So the good news is it's not one of his multiple usual situations. He's going to be kept out of practice. This was a walkthrough. He not participating in that at all either. Whether he's going to be out from vet days, whether he's going to be out and not practice because he just played, quick turnaround, whatever it is, injury, sickness, illness, it doesn't really matter. He was going to be out of this practice week anyways. Maybe do the walkthrough, maybe do some of the mock stuff on Saturdays. But either way, Tyron Smith should be back into practice in a full way. And again, I say full way as a healthy scratch from practice after he gets over the illness. So really, guys, Cavante Turpin's shoulder, Marquise Bell's calf, and Osa Odighizuwa's hamstring. Those are the 3 injuries you want to keep an eye on as we head into this Giants game. Let's be real about it, right?
Now, I did want to shout out real quick. Deluncic said, should we make Trey Lance our second QB, showcase him for the next 2 games in hopes of boosting his offseason trade value? I mean, if you're going off of the comments that Jerry has made now a few times, it doesn't sound like the Cowboys have any interest in moving on from Trey Lance either now or in the offseason. But, of course, you never know what could change, I guess. But, yeah, I have a feeling that now that Jerry has his hands on Trey Lance, he's not going to let him go without a good fight.
I just talked about it a little earlier about putting in, Trey Lance and, as one of your active guys.
Yeah.
If you don't have him active for the game, he's going to be your emergency guy, right? So I don't think the Cowboys want to risk him unless he's ready to be number 2. I don't think he is yet. The Cowboys don't want to risk him being the only other quarterback than Dak, and then Cooper Rush can only come in if both guys get hurt. So if Dak gets hurt and we have to throw in there Trey Lance in a close game, that's not what the Cowboys. They'd rather have Cooper Rush in that situation. So the way I look at it, you have to have all 3 guys active if you want to even get a chance. If it's a blowout, You can pick and just say, Trey Lance, get in there. You don't have to put Cooper Rush. You put Trey Lance in there, and you let him finish the game out and see what he's got. I don't know about showcasing him, but it is about winning and losing. So, of course, I don't want to have to rely on Trey Lance when we jump the gun on showcasing this player against supposedly easy opponents, and we have a struggling game, and then Dak gets hurt. Then you got Trey Lance out there having to man the thing. We gotta hope that Trey Lance can do it, or he gets thrown out the game, and then we get Cooper Rush to probably manage the game better. But that's the situation when it comes to, in my opinion, the Trey Lance situation. You got to put him as one of the active guys. You cannot have him as an inactive on game day.
Yeah, and then the other point was Linton says that he thinks we should put Michael Gallup inactive for one game and then just see what we have with him. But like I said, there is no way that our Cowboys front office is going to somehow allow McCarthy to sit Michael Gallup, have him be a healthy scratch.
That's not happening, guys.
No way.
The money that Gallup is getting paid, $11.5 million average per year, but every year it gets bumped up even more. A 5-year deal. He's in a second year of that. I'm just saying, Jerry Jones will fire everybody if Gallup is put as an inactive. I'm just being honest. I'm just saying that's never going to happen. Never, ever going to happen unless he breaks team rules, violates his contract, or takes a pay cut. Then I guess that can happen. Outside of that, Jerry Jones is going to make sure Michael Gallup gets enough snaps to make him feel good about spending the money.
Seabass said Lance couldn't beat out Donald.
Sam Darnold, in San Francisco. I know. I'm just saying whether he can beat him or not now, or maybe he's in the right system now. I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is the Cowboys don't want Trey Lance being the number 2. Can't risk it. You have to have all 3 guys. All 3 of them would have to be, active for the game. Cooper Rush, of course, Dak, Cooper Rush, and then Trey Lance.
So, by the way, as we kind of keep rolling here, let me remind everybody to take a second, hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You guys can follow us anywhere and everywhere at MyCowboysFamily. And, of course, hop in the Discord. Link for that's in the description box down below.
Yeah, and much love the sponsor of the week and the Cash App King, SnugX.
You know why he's here.
You know why. Much love the Skeptical Fan leading this gifting board right now, and also the gifting champion, Retro Scotty. He's hanging on, guys. Roger Staubach, $12 holler takes that down. Retro Scotty's holding that down currently, and the overall leader on the board, Amazing Games. You got the overall leader on the Cash App leader, I should say, Skeptical Fan. Much love to everybody in the house, and as always, you know what we do here. Go Cowboys!
Go Cowboys!
So let's, I'm talking about the offensive line, and when I talk about Tyron Smith, listen to this, baby. I want to tell people real quick before we move on to our defense versus the Giants' offense. We're going to finish up with that here. Pass protection. How good is this offensive line, our offensive line, when it comes to protecting the quarterback in pass protection? Not the top 6. I know we got the 6th ranking from PFF and our top 10 offensive line when we're healthy, but how about specifically in pass protection?
I'm going to assume we're not all that great just off the top of my head.
The score put together, guys, all right? When you combine the PFF score, the SIS score, the ESPN score, the Cowboys rank as the 18th best offensive line in pass protection. That is below average.
Yeah, that's actually surprisingly better than I thought it was
maybe.
going to be.
A couple of years ago, we were 30th and 28th, so at least it's an upgrade. But 18th, not great either. I'll say this, though. This is a more realistic look than just saying the Cowboys are a top 10 offensive line.
Okay.
Cowboys' offensive line is average in pass protection. Running game, obviously we're better run blocking, but we haven't able. It seems like we're not this year. We're not able to run that good this year on the ground, right? So not really doing great on the ground running. I don't know if it's all on the running back, or it's the way teams play us. Is it the offensive line blocking? But pass protection is also suffering there. So you have a good offense. This offense for the Cowboys woke up, right? You have to give credit to 2 guys. It's not about the offensive line. You got to give credit to Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott, because they're keeping this offense afloat when the offensive line is definitely far from where they need to be. Let's be honest about that. So I just want to throw that in there when it comes to the offensive line, which helps us in the run and the pass game. You look at CeeDee Lamb and what he's been doing. Listen to this, baby. He's gotten 52.88% of the share of the Cowboys' air yards, throwing the ball in the air, the catching it, not catching and run, but a deep down, making the plays happen down the field. He's got over half of the Cowboys' deep air, not deep, but air yardage collection there against the Eagles last week. That was against this one game against the Eagles. His average in the game was actually less. He still fell short of the expectation, believe it or not, with 191 yards and all those numbers. And guys, it suggests he could have gained even more yards than the 191 he got against the Eagles. The way he played was that good for CeeDee Lamb. Now, when you look at Brandon Cooks, he kind of disappeared, right? Brandon Cooks, listen to this. His average deep targets per game, that's 20 yards or more. How many targets has he had? Last 3 years, he's had at least 1.6 per game. So 1 to 2 deep targets for Brandon Cooks every game the last 3 years. This year with the Cowboys, 0.5. He gets between 0 deep threats and maybe 1 deep threat per game this year.
Yeah,
that's a big downgrade.
And not just that, but I think I pointed it out while we were watching the Eagles game. Maybe it was the game before that. But, I had kind of pointed out that's a very similar fact.
Yeah. We don't even use him down the field. What the fuck? I mean, we saw him use
and I think part
against
of
the Rams.
I think part of the reason I think it stood out was when we made our first, deep attempt in the Eagle game. I remember just seeing it and going damn, it's been a while since we've seen that deep of an attempt by Dak. Not saying he hasn't had his little 15. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know, but again, this is more specific to, Brandon Cooks getting targeted deep. He doesn't get targeted deep. Half a game. Half a time. In
general, we just do not attack deep, which is why in the Eagles game it kind of really stood out to me when we did do it just the one time. I was like, damn. I guess we really don't do that, and then on top of that, like you said, we really don't do it to Cooks. We don't.
The thing is,
trying to do much with Cooks right now.
What I'm trying to say is that the last 3 years he's gotten at least 1 to 2 looks deep a game, no matter who he fucking played with.
He probably has 1 or 2
this year.
Half of the season.
This year he has half a game. That's what he's averaging. Half a game of deep targets, not catches, just throwing it deep. So what I'm trying to say is, unfortunately, that's pitiful as it is for the Cowboys. I would put that a lot on McCarthy and even some on Dak, but this is what makes me crazy. Michael Gallup has seen more deep targets than Brandon Cooks. That is irresponsible. I'm not saying Michael Gallup can't be a deep threat as well, but this is the guy you brought in to stretch the field, and we're throwing the ball deeper to him, targeting him less than Michael Gallup, who can't even get separation.
I mean, I'm going to say what we all know to be true. Michael Gallup is getting paid more money.
There you go.
So he will be getting more targets and more play time and more attempts or whatever.
Gave up. He was taken though for draft capital, and he's getting paid like $7 million. So I'm just saying it's not as much as 11, but it's not. See, I think
exactly chump change either.
The bigger thing is it's not Jerry Jones's guy. He's not Jerry Jones's guy, which I think is the bigger deal.
I agree.
Because Michael Gallup is Jerry Jones's guy and his find. So that's what I kind of look at that and kind of see Jerry Jones difference maker there. But I just want to bring it up because the deep targets, we got to find more deep targets for guys like Brandon Cooks, even over Michael Gallup. No question, no diggity, no doubt. This offense right now, baby, our offense, and again, McCarthy, of course, we know Dak Prescott leading the way here. The offense is scoring an average of 27 points per game. That is the third most currently in the NFL. So again, our offense is picking it up by far. We were down at the middle to the end of the pack. Again, now we're at the front of the pack.
Every metric we said earlier, where we were talking about, we need to see these things improve and stuff like that. I mean, guys,
a lot of it improved.
The offense from week 1 to now, night and day.
The Giants defense, we're going to see them this week. We're going to talk about this tomorrow in much more detail. But the Giants defense is allowing an average of 24 points per game. That is the 6th worst in the NFL. So they give up.
That stat.
Yeah, they give up points. We take points. It's a match made in heaven, and we'll see what happens. But I do want to say one little thing before we get all jerky off about our offense. Listen to this stat. I'm gonna get to the defense here, kind of more about the team, this game, and the breakdown of our defense versus the Giants' offense. But listen to this, baby. The Cowboys go run, pass. 9th most in the NFL right now. And I'm telling you right now, running on first down, running on second down, that's not a good combination. And you got to pass on a third and longer on third down. That is not a good thing. The Cowboys do that 9th most. 9th most in the NFL. In the last 5 or 6 games, I would say that the Cowboys have basically doing that a lot less. Okay? The last 5 games. I think after the first 2-3 weeks, we were doing a lot of the run, pass. Run, pass. You will lose that way. That skewed the numbers right now. So we're still 9th. We used to probably be 1st or 2nd. So now we're 9th on this list. I guess you're going down. That's a good thing, but we're still too high. We got to avoid the run, pass. We got to go run, pass, or I prefer pass, and maybe run or pass on 3rd down. That is just the way of the NFL now. But the one thing you don't want to be is be that low on the list there. You don't want to be 22nd when it comes to doing, it's something you don't want to do. I don't say 20th, 9th best, a top 10 team doing something that should not be done by offenses on a regular basis. So that we got to clear up and clean up, in my humble opinion. Now, when it comes to this game, again, offense, defense, special teams. We'll talk about special teams tomorrow along with our offense against this defense of the Giants. But a win on Sunday against the Giants will give the Cowboys 12 straight home wins. And that's a streak right now is best in the NFL. The last 3 head coaches to oversee a 12-game or more home winning streak, that's not the Cowboys. This is in the NFL. Matt LaFleur did it with the Packers from 2020 to 2022, a home winning streak of 12 or more. Bill Belichick with the Patriots did it in 2017, 18, and 19. Over those years, he won at least 12 straight home games. And the guy before that, Mike McCarthy. He did it in 2014 and 2015. Mike McCarthy had a home streak of 12 games. Green Bay and New England have the big advantages at home. Now the Cowboys are added to this list. If we win, we'll be with these kinds of people in the last 15 years or so. That's pretty major right there in the last handful of years. 12 game home winning streaks are tough to do. You control it, and that's what the Cowboys need to continue doing, especially against the fucking Giants. And the next home game is against the Washington Commanders, and then Seattle, and then the Eagles. Let's keep this streak going. I know we get the Panthers, but that's in Carolina coming up on this schedule. Anyways, in this streak at home, this 11-game streak, the Cowboys have won by an average of 17 points at home. That's every one of these 11 games. The 2 wins last year against Indianapolis and this year against New England were by 35 points. The closest game in the streak was the first one to start the streak. You remember what it was at home? After that Bucs loss, we played the Bengals. We won 20-17. That was our closest win at home to start this entire streak. Kind of crazy there, right?
That is kind of crazy, but also kind of nice, I guess, when you think about it.
Yeah, it started off slow, but then we were rolling because the last 3 games at home, which are all from this year, our 3 wins at home, the Jets, the Patriots, and the Rams, we're winning by 27.7 points per game. We haven't won any of those by under 20. So the Giants should be no fucking different. It should be over 20, and we should wipe the floor with the Giants team, and we should continue this streak going forward. Now, the team we're going to see is the Giants. Now, I'm going to talk about their quarterback situation in a minute, as far as more detail about who we're going to see, but today we know more. First and foremost, let me break down the Giants, what they did today. I guess it would be NFL news because it is Cowboy news today.
Very, very Cowboy adjacent and Cowboy relevant.
Cowboys signed quarterback the Giants signed quarterback Matt Barkley from their practice squad and got him on their 53-man roster. He is now officially their backup. It's not a surprise. He's taking Daniel Jones was put on IR today. All right, and of course so was Darren Waller and Tyron Taylor last week. So now with Daniel Jones' roster spot being open, they moved Matt Barkley into that spot on the 53. Of course, we know officially Daniel Jones gone for the year, injured reserve after suffering a torn ACL. So now it's going to be Matt Barkley and Tommy DeVito on the active roster. As I said yesterday, Jacob Eason was signed to the practice squad, so he's the only guy left on the practice squad right now. But there's no date on Daniel Jones' surgery on his ACL. Generally, players usually wait a few weeks to strengthen the areas around the knee, also stop the swelling. So that's what Daniel Jones is probably going to do, wait about 3 weeks or so before he gets the surgery, which is exactly what pretty much every player does. Now, he does work out that area, so it strengthens those muscles before the surgery. Now, Brian Daboll, which is the Giants head coach, announced that today their starting quarterback is going to be number 15, Tommy DeVito. Not Danny DeVito, Tommy DeVito. And the backup is going to be, he was their backup for the last couple of weeks. Just remember that. Now he's their starter. He's their third stringer. He's their starter now, officially named by their head coach today. So we know who we're going to face. The Cowboys can start really diving in on the footage on this guy, which is very limited. And again, Giants going to start Tommy DeVito against the Cowboys. Matt Barkley, who I just told you signed from the practice squad to the 53, is his official backup according to Brian Dable, the head coach for the Giants. Tommy DeVito is, listen to this, baby, the 10th rookie quarterback to start a game this year.
I mean, again, the quarterback situation in the league this year has been like one of the worst. Again, that's why on one hand, very lucky, very thankful that everything's fine. But two, on the other hand, that's why I said I'm not surprised that we've had so many kind of even behind the scenes calls or people just like desperate to take, Trey Lance from us. Even if I'm just saying, like, even if the Cowboys, it's a firm no and it didn't go anywhere. The point is that things are so bad in the NFL. Like, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel here.
Yeah, again, you got Tommy DeVito's going to be the 10th rookie quarterback to start a game this year in the NFL, which, by the way, it's already a single-season NFL record. Never has this many rookie quarterbacks started games in a season, ever in the history of the NFL. Now it's happening.
Part of that, too, is obviously the fact that we had so many teams drafting quarterbacks in this past draft.
Part of it, but a lot of these names are like undrafted. This guy, again, fourth round, like guy.
That's because of the first thing I said before that, which is all the injuries to the quarterbacks. But
or bad play.
Even true.
Like Garoppolo and others.
Yeah, but he's not a...
I know. I'm saying he's out. They got Aiden O'Connell, who the Cowboys liked. He had his first win against the Giants last week. Mm-hmm. So every team is getting these young rookies starting. Like now you're going to get DeVito getting his... Again, he already had his first start, I think, last week. I'm sorry, he's getting his start now because Daniel Jones got hurt in the game and he came in. This is his first start.
The way they see it is we can pay somebody to suck or we can just draft somebody to suck.
Or an undrafted like Tommy DeVito, who is not even on that list. So, listen, 10th rookie, he's going to have trouble against our defense. And on top of that, baby, let's go through a real quick summation of what the Giants are looking at on their injury report. A lot of guys, on the injury report, full practice for one of their offensive linemen, Justin Pugh, with an ankle. He was full practice, so he's a good to go there. And Dane Belton, defensive back injury, full practice, so he's good to go. A couple limited guys. And, something to keep an eye on. Paris Campbell, a receiver, a hamstring, limited, soft tissue, watch. Jashawn Corbin, running back, hamstring, limited. Again, guys, another hamstring. Keep an eye on those soft tissues. Like I said, for us, keep it on them as well. A tweaked ankle by Azeez Ojulari. He's the guy you got to keep an eye on this week for sure. Ankle tweak, limited in practice. Andrew Thomas, probably the biggest player that the Giants cannot afford to lose on their offensive line. Their tackle, hamstring issue, limited practice. So those guys are limited. Now, there's a bunch of guys that didn't practice at all for the Giants today, and they didn't have a walkthrough. They had their regular practice.
There you go.
Sean Harlow, former Cowboy. They plucked him off our list there. He didn't practice. He had a personal reason for that, personal day. And Dexter Lawrence also had a rest day. No practice for him. A veteran day, basically. But then you had Deion Jackson, running back, concussion, did not practice. Adoree Jackson, a starter there in the defensive backfield. He had a concussion and a neck issue, did not participate in practice today. And to me, really, the biggest chance of them missing a guy is going to be, I talked about him earlier last week, earlier in this week, Evan Neal, offensive lineman starter, serious ankle injury in the sense of like, it could make him miss a couple of games. He's on this list, did not practice. That's another guy to watch. They got a couple offensive linemen, which they can't afford to lose, that are right now are hanging on by a thread or, looking like they might miss this game. You got, a couple starters in the defensive backfield that are banged up. Running backs are banged up. They got a lot of banged up guys on top of the guys they already lost, like Darren Waller, their kicker, Graham Gano, their quarterbacks, Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor. The Giants are in deep shit. I'm going to be honest with you guys. And you look at their team right now. Tell me if you know these guys. I mean, of course, Tommy DeVito, quarterback. Matt Barkley's the backup. Saquon Barkley, he is their superstar. He's the guy we got to watch.
The poor man has having to carry the entirety of the team on his back.
Yeah, Matt Breida is another running back for them. They got Jalen Hyatt, the rookie, at receiver. Darius Slayton, who's their best receiver left right now. And Wan'Dale Robinson is their slot guy. Sterling Shepard gets a little play in there, I guess. Isaiah Hodgins, Paris Campbell's banged up. You got Daniel Bellinger. Remember, no Darren Waller. So Bellinger, who was supposed to be compared to like Ferguson, not too much. I'll explain about that this year. Kager is their backup. I mean, they got no real tight ends except for Bellinger, who's all right. And then their offensive line, which is not the greatest. Look, they got a center, a rookie, John Michael Schmitz Jr., who we we liked here, but he's a rookie. He can be worked. We worked him in the first game against the Giants. You got Ben Bredeson there, formerly of the Ravens. He's the right guard. Left guard is banged up a little bit, but he's going to play. Justin Pugh, he's full practice. Right tackle Evan Neal, he looks like he's not going to play. Trust me, he's been a revolving door, so I don't think that he's going to even look good even if he plays, and the backup might have a better chance, which would be Tyree Phillips to get us a couple of shots in there. And then you got Andrew Thomas, who's also a little banged up. Got to keep an eye on him, who's limited in practice. Joshua Miles would be a backup to him. But again, if they lose either of those guys, or at least if they lose Andrew Thomas, the Giants will just forfeit the game. And that's it. They came and protect their shitty quarterback. Defensively, we'll go much deeper tomorrow, but you got to know some names on the Giants defense. Jahad Ward.
Obviously, that rings a bell.
You got, again, I don't know if Boogie Basham is the same guy, if that's our guy here, formerly Basham, Terrell Basham. But
I guess there's a chance, but I
think so. But both guys play in the rotation there. Kayvon Thibodeau, very good player. He's one of the leaders in sacks in the NFL, so a guy to watch tomorrow. We'll talk about that. Sean Robinson inside, Raheem Nunez-Roches, Dexter Lawrence. These are the interior guys. They got a good interior, solid interior, and they will stop the run. So that's one thing they could do. But at edge, like I said, Thibodeau, linebacker, rusher, Bobby Okereke, he's going to be playing some middle linebacker, Micah McFadden, Isaiah Simmons at linebacker, and then you got banged up Adoree Jackson as a cornerback, along with Deonte Banks, a rookie. We can pick on this secondary. We'll talk more about that. Trey Hawkins, another rookie, who I think started in the beginning of that whole colossal situation there for the Giants. They had rookies going out there. Nick McLeod, they got some weaknesses. In the nickel, Cordell Flott is a guy I know I talked about a lot in the past. He's a attackable player there. Darnay Holmes also the backup at that spot. And at safeties, Jason Pinnock, Bobby McCain, Xavier McKinney, Dane Belton. We'll discuss all these guys tomorrow, but trust me, not to worry too much about this Giants team on offense or defense. So I don't know if anybody has any quick comments, but I'm gonna go into this. We're finishing it up, so leave your last comments. Drop your last drops of love and thoughts from above there as we do this home stretch little discussion on the Giants offense, our defense. How are we going to do this thing? Well, pretty simple, guys. First and foremost, we're going to start at the head-to-head breakdown here when it comes to our defense and their offense. We know who we got. We know our defense, but we don't really familiar with this Giants especially after week 1, right? They got a new really starting receiver. They have, of course, a new quarterback. So this is the first game for the Giants without starting quarterback Daniel Jones. He tore his ACL, of course, we know. Tyrod Taylor, injured in reserve after breaking a rib bone. Both guys are out. So Tommy DeVito is he undrafted from Syracuse this year. Rookie, of course, like I said. He had more interceptions than he did completions during his time on the field last week. And he looked out of his abilities. Let's just say he is definitely, number 15, it looks bad. He looks like a fish out of water. He's not in good shape there. And he's going to look worse there against his Cowboy defense. So he managed to kind of get 175 yards passing last week and a touchdown. But again, against the Vegas Raiders, not a great team. He took 6 sacks last week. 8 total. 2 of them were from Daniel Jones also. He's going to be worried about that guy right here on the left side of your screen, Micah Parsons, ready to feast. 15 better be ready because they're coming for him, guys. And again, not just him, but the whole entire pass rush. Just to give you a little example, and I'll talk about this a little bit more with Micah Parsons specifically. But look what we did against the Giants. This is with Daniel Jones and Micah and this defensive line versus their offensive line, who was healthier back then, by the way. They're not as healthy right now, and we still got all up in their ass. So the Giants, starting an undrafted rookie at quarterback, and against a potential defense that is allowing, like ours, very few passing yards. The Giants rank last in the NFL in sacks allowed. They've allowed 49 sacks in the season so far. Again, most of those were with Daniel Jones there. Of course, with Tommy DeVito, maybe it's a breath of fresh air. But when you look at Micah Parsons, his pressure, sacks, whatever it is, right here, sacking, the rest is pressure, or allowing other guys to get in there and do damage and pressure as well. When you look at the pressure percentage from Micah Parsons has a 38 general pressure percentage. when you look at next-gen stats. That is ranked number 1 in the NFL for Micah Parsons. What about pass rush win rate? Yesterday we talked about him being 33% through the PFF numbers. Through the next-gen numbers, he was number 1 there. Through the next-gen numbers, he gets a 58% pass rush win rate. That's number 1 in the NFL. Micah Parsons has the highest PFF pass rush grade, but not just in the entire game. This specifically in the fourth quarter, baby.
Which, of course, Micah Parsons is that guy. So for him to play, I'm just saying, like, it's one thing to play at a high level pretty much the entire game, but for him to step it up even more towards the end of the game, because obviously that's what this game needed, and that's what usually the game demands in general. I'm just saying, like...
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm trying to say.
I'm just saying, like, obviously this past Eagle game is a good example of that. Did he have a sack?
2 sacks.
In the fourth quarter? No.
Yeah.
I think he did come earlier.
He had 2 sacks, but I don't know if he got in the fourth quarter. The point is that he gets the pressure. He gets the pass rushing ability. His pass rushing ability is elite. Not just in the whole game, but like you said, and like I'm saying here in the fourth quarter.
It's elite throughout the first 3 quarters, and then he somehow levels it up even more in the fourth.
Yeah, minimum 25 snaps in the fourth quarter. He has 16 pressures, which is the 3rd most. He has a 36.6 pass rush win rate, which is best in the NFL through PFF. And like I said, his overall pass rushing grade in the fourth quarter specifically is number 1 in the NFL, which tells you, yes, last year was one of the hits on Micah Parsons, right? I mean, you look at last year's play, boom. He was in there doing his thing, but when did he drop off, baby? Everyone complained about him dropping off in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. This year ain't like that. This year, he's doing this in the first 3 quarters, and then in the fourth quarter, taking, like you said, take a step up, next level. So you want to compare it, guys. Micah Parsons' overall pass rush win rate is 22.9% of the time. But like I said, fourth quarter, 36.6%. When it comes to the pass rush win rate through next gen, 58% of the time he wins the pass rush. That's number 1 in the NFL. I'm just saying this is the domination that he's bringing, and he's going to be attacking Tommy DeVito, quarterback for the Giants, in his first start of his career as an undrafted Syracuse player. So to me, obviously, this is going to be something he's going to be scared of. This is what we did earlier in the year against Daniel Jones, a better offensive line at the time. Still ate him up the whole entire game. Another guy we're going to have to watch, maybe, and I think this is the main guy to watch. It's the guy in the middle of your screen there, number 26, Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is rushing for the exact same average as Tony Pollard is right now. I don't know if that's saying much. He's only scored 1 rushing touchdown, Saquon Barkley, this year. Only 1. And that's 1 less than Tony Pollard. Pollard ain't having a great year, and he's having a worse year.
I don't necessarily think it's a good thing that either one of these guys has stats so similar to the other, but for obviously different reasons, right?
Yeah, exactly. Barkley right now, he does outscore Pollard in one category, and that's receiving touchdowns. So they, again, he's got 2 touchdowns in the air. Barkley has 110 receiving yards this year in the air, and again, Pollard this year has 190, even though he doesn't get as many passes. So again, you can see that Pollard is much more effective than Barkley, even if they're about in the same level right now. So Barkley's not having a very good year. Definitely lower numbers and stats. The biggest concern for him is that he's the team's only offensive threat. Saquon Barkley's got to carry. Talk about carrying the load. Dak ain't carrying the load that Barkley's carrying for the Giants. And again, very lackluster year. Gary Brightwell as the running back, Eric Gray, both these guys have been placed on injured reserve. So they got Matt Breida as the backup. But he's got to do all the work. He gets beat up. If they're down by a lot, they got to throw. Barkley gets taken out of the game a lot because of that this year. The lack of much else to threaten the Cowboys with on defense. Guess what we got to do on defense, baby? It's pretty simple. It's got to stop Saquon Barkley. I mean, that's it. Stop the run. Stop Saquon Barkley. Game's over.
Exactly. There's not a snowball's chance in hell that the Giants can do anything at all without Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, Barkley's got to be their guy. And
the easy thing is, like you said, we can maybe, I don't want to say overcompensate, but, we can take that little bit of extra time or effort or whatever to make sure to stop Barkley because we know it's not necessarily going to bite us in the ass in any other way.
Yeah, I mean, we're not really fearful of the pass game. And now let's talk about the pass game because we talked about the quarterback, talked about the running back. What about number 86, who's their number one? I guess he's their number one. You got Jalen Hyatt, the rookie from Tennessee. But Darius Slayton leads the Giants' entire wide receiving core in yardage. He's got the most yards at wide receiver, but has not scored a touchdown yet. Against the Jets, he finished with a total of 1 catch for negative 1 yard. I mean, it did better if he didn't make the catch. Rookie wide receiver, like I said, Jalen Hyatt, had a 75-yard game, yardage-wise, against the Commanders, but that was 3 weeks ago. He's currently averaging 2 catches a game for 19 yards. Jalen Hyatt, the rookie. So you got a guy averaging 19 yards, another guy who hasn't scored a touchdown, leading the team in yardage, but not many yards. Wan'Dale Robinson, who's their slot guy, he scored 1 receiving touchdown so far this year. And he's also only averaging 7.3 yards per catch. This is your receiver. Getting 7 yards, that's like tight end. So that's the 5th lowest among receivers with a minimum of 25 targets. Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, and Darius Slayton, They're both, all 3 of these guys, lackluster all across the board. So the Giants receivers are going to face a Cowboy defense that ranks 6th best in the NFL in passing yards allowed. We shut down the pass. And again, they got a shitty quarterback, a rookie quarterback, an experienced quarterback back there, a receiving core that doesn't scare anybody, except for Saquon, which is part of the running back core there. Playing with a 3rd-string quarterback, the Cowboys 6th best in allowing passing yards. Come on. This should be a lot of mistakes going on with their quarterback. It's going to be an ugly game, in my opinion. You know, the tight end position is where they had their best player, Darren Waller, who's, of course, on IR. The tight end position. He was their best guy, but now on IR, that tight end position has just shrunk to nothing now. Backup tight end, and he was supposed to be much better this year. Daniel Bellinger took over as a starting tight end. He's made 7 catches this entire season. He was supposed to be Ferguson-like. Bellinger made 7 catches. I'm sorry, 7? Yeah. He's got 7 receptions this year. He had 3 against the Raiders last week. So he had 3 last week and then 4 the rest of the season. That's an issue for the Giants at tight end. Again, supposed to be Ferguson-like. I don't know. But tough spot for him, 2nd-year tight end. He has to face a Cowboy defense that has allowed an average of 37 yards per game to the tight end position. And that's a lot to do with Jaron Kearse. So Kearse is going to lock down Bellinger, help and run support, help, a lot of different ways. That's going to be a key there that I think we just got to stay on Bellinger. We're going to knock him out the any chance to do anything. The Giants are starting a 2nd-year backup tight end, and he's scored 2 touchdowns so far in his career in 2 years. 2 touchdowns for Bellinger. So no touchdown threat. Not really a receiving threat, Bellinger. You got 3 receivers that are not threats. You got a quarterback that's not a threat. The only threat is literally Saquon Barkley. You stop the run, you won. That's basically what's going to happen for the Cowboys. The last part of this Giants team we got to discuss, the last part, is their offensive line. And that offensive line is struggling. As I show you the week 1, when they had a full offensive line going, their best 5 guys out there, this is what they showed, a disaster. The Giants' offensive line is struggling on both sides to protect the quarterback. No team, no offensive line has allowed more sacks this year than the Giants. They've allowed 49 sacks. They also rank last in total pressures allowed. They allow the most pressures with 145, which is 15 more than the 2nd worst team. We'll be seeing them next week, the Carolina Panthers. So, again, they allow a lot of pressure. They allow, the Panthers are the Panthers are the worst. They allow the 2nd worst pressures. They allow more sacks than anybody in the NFL. And when you look at the run blocking for the Giants, trying to block for Barkley, they're about the same, I would say, when compared to the Cowboys, let's say. But you got to really watch Evan Neal. That's maybe his best quality is run blocking because he ain't doing it in the pass protection side. He suffered an ankle injury. He may be limited all week. He already missed a day of practice. Look for him to be in trouble to play this game. I guess if that happens, even the run blocking, that now goes down even farther. So they are a team that is trash right now. Let's be honest. I mean, not trying to offend any of the Giant fans around, but that's the truth of the situation. This Giant team, the season's over. They know it. The fans should know it. And it should show it on the fucking field in Dallas. In AT&T Stadium, there's no excuse. I don't care. Trap game, my ass. Overlook this team, my ass. This should be a blowout city. It's a division rival. We should wipe the floor with this fucking team. Case closed. So, don't know what you think, baby. What's your thoughts?
I mean, like I said, the fact that basically the spread means that we're supposed to beat them by 3 touchdowns.
3 scores at least, yeah.
I expect a better version of the kind of smackdown we gave them week 1, just because obviously that one was a little bit rougher, a little bit uglier, a little bit more discombobulated, but we still managed to go out there and like absolutely dominate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have a feeling this one is going to be a much more confident type of domination, right? This team is much more comfortable together. We've progressed quite a bit on offense, at least from week 1 to now.
Oh, yeah.
And defensively, obviously, we're just kind of hoping that we can get our groove back. And what better way to do that than, like I said, laying the smackdown on a fellow NFC East rival, and of course, one of the crappiest teams in the NFL right now, bar none.
I will say this. I'm going to say this though, because you brought it up. The fact that the Cowboys, our offense has improved. We're going to talk about that matchup tomorrow with our defense against this offense, which is trash. Other than Barkley, we slow down Barkley. We stop Barkley. This is the defense just holding them to single digits at most for this fucking. It should be 0 to 9 at most. The Giants score, in my opinion, on offense. But tomorrow we'll talk about their defense and how our offense, when you just said it, they haven't seen our offense this good. Week 1, we were just like barely getting down the field, and we still got a defense kind of pulling some scores there for us. But what I'm trying to say is our offense, we're going to discuss how much better we are now than they saw us in the first weeks, and how their defense is struggling in a big way. And they're going to struggle I believe they're going to struggle big time against this. Our Cowboy offense is going to show some really great stuff, I think. We should show some really great stuff against the Giants this weekend in Dallas, in AT&T Stadium, and extending this streak. There's no excuses. There's no overconfidence. It's a must-win. It's a damn right you better win it, or else pack it up. We're one and done if we make the playoffs. That's what I'm saying. And that's going to be my mantra the next fucking 3 weeks until we play Seattle, and we should beat them, and then the Eagles, we'll see where we're at that time, baby. I want to know what the family thinks as we do the final shout-outs with the final comments as we wrap it up here on My Cowboys Family.
There's an idea I made. She said, let's break the record to 71-0.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Lunatic saying, someone tell Big Mike he can use challenges during the game.
I'm telling you.
He also said the Arizona game was in Arizona. We had that Diggs injury that Thursday. We pissed off, and then at home versus the Giants, and that bad combination for DeVito.
Yeah, you remember, and another thing I'm going to say, too, the way the Cowboys play, after a loss with McCarthy, it's been over 3 years, over 2 years, 2.5 years, that we've lost a game, a back-to-back game. It's been a long time. Knocking on wood, but we just lost to the Eagles. Knock on wood should mean we should, at the very least, beat the Giants. I truly think we should thrash the trash of New York.
So, let me keep rolling here. Justin D, much love. Yeah, let's really hope we're not one and done this year, right? As Modi said, annihilation.
That's what it should be.
So, let me try to roll back here. Rolando Rodriguez said, didn't the quarterback from the Cardinals that beat the Cowboys...
Joshua Dobbs is now with the Vikings.
Yeah, he's with the Vikings.
Yep.
So, I guess good for him though. He's definitely earned it specifically this year, in that rent. Seabass said, if we see Rush in before halftime, we know we did a good job. So yeah, I'd probably expect to see him in the second half, depending on how well our Cowboys do our job, right? Can't magically appear points on the board, but
we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Now, the Lunatic said that if we win the coin toss, he wants to see us actually take the ball and score first.
Yeah, I think that's what I think we're going to try to do against the lesser teams. I kind of agree on that to some extent, although, you know me, I always like to get the ball second half.
I mean, I'm a little bit torn because normally I would say, no, your strength is your defense or whatever, but I know the more weeks that go on and the defense is looking like almost worse and worse, right? It's hard to really say that statement, so... let me see. Rolando Rodriguez, much love. Let me see. Brandon James. Shout out to you, Pioneer in the house. No, just trying to make sure I get through all the shout outs here. Xavier Hidalgo. Chappelle Hannon, much love. MH. Let me see. I think Aguilar 04. Chappelle Hannon. Justin D. Choctaw Montana 808.
Much love.
Asmodeus.
Much love, Orlando. Justin D. The lunatic. Justin D said, 11-1 after a loss from McCarthy. Again, he's only had one back-to-back loss, it sounds like, in that COVID year. So that's good. And I do think
as far back as I can go.
I would like to think positively, Justin, but I'm being realistic here. We win a game at most, and then we lose in the second round if we don't fix our issues. Like the lunatic said, we got to improve our little details, the little issues, those inches make differences not against the Giants. We make some mistakes against the Giants who win by 30. The same mistakes we make against the Eagles. We beat the Eagles. We beat the Giants by 30 with those same mistakes. With the Eagles, we lose in a close fucking game. So that's the playoff games that the lunatic's talking about, and I'm 100% with them. We got to clean this shit up. Not for the Giants game. Fuck that. I don't care what the score is. We should blow them out. I ain't going to celebrate. I'm not going to celebrate like we won a Super Bowl after this. We got to blow out the Giants, blow out the fucking Panthers, blow out the Washington Commanders, handle the Seattle Seahawks, and we'll see how we are there after that. If we do those things, then we can say, okay, maybe we're heading in the right direction. I got to see it actually happen. Even if we beat the Eagles in Dallas, I got to see it happen in the fucking playoffs. That's all I'm saying. Playoffs. By the way, big shout out to those dropping the love from above tonight, whether it's membership status right there, like Bootzilla and Tammy Soltis, membership gifting like Skeptical Fan dropping the love today as well, Daniel Berry Sports in the Cash App side, Kirk Burning in the Super Chat side. Much love to everybody here. Of course, Retro Scotty still holding it down. 12 points on the stream, boss. Hanging on right there. And of course, the guy who's not hanging on, the guy who's dominating the board, sponsor of the week, right there at the bottom, you see him. It's SnugX. You know why he's here. But you also know he's here for 3 months of domination, 12 weeks in a row. He's 8 away from the record there with Jason Renfro. But SnugX is the Cash App king. Much love to him. And I said earlier, the gifting champion is the man Skeptical Fan. He's also the current leader on the gifting board, trying to go back-to-back like SnugX in the sponsor of the week, like our 90s Cowboys. And he's also the leader in the Cash App side for Skeptical Fan. Has one over Daniel Berry, trying to break that streak of SnugX. We'll see what happens. Much love, Skeptical. Appreciate you. You look at the overall board, you up there. You see Mr. Mark Hosepian in second. Always ripping the top of the board. There is the 15-week streak as a sponsor of the week, but he's not the leader right now. It's amazing games, West Coast style. He's still in first place. Much love to him as well. We'll see everybody here back tomorrow. I think we did all the shout-outs, right? I think that was it.
I think so, right? Brandon James, lost in translation. Much love. Take it easy. Let me see. Yeah, see, I'm going to end things here on a great comment by the man Seabass.
Hey, in the house.
I have only to allude to something that MCF said in the previous stream. I don't give a fuck if Dallas wins the next 4 games. I want to not only see that in dominating fashion, but also improve to compete against top-tier teams.
100%. 100%.
It is very expected of us to win the next handful of games in front of us, for the most part.
4 weeks. It's 4 wins.
But outside of that, yeah, like in these games, we have to somehow, do what we're supposed to do, but then also figure out how to get past this weird little hump, right? We played the Niners. We looked pretty rough. We played the Eagles. At least we looked much, much better.
Still didn't get the win, though. And when we get the Eagles week 14, the Bills week 15, the Dolphins week 16, the Lions week 17, that's going to be the true are we ready? We'll know after that.
That's why I said this is our final kind of stretch of, basically
easy teams before we get real.
Win games, even if it's...
We got to win these games. No more excuses. And I want to see domination. I want to win by 17, by 24. That's the range I'm looking at. I don't care about the 40 burger or how much we score. I just want to beat these teams, and I want the defense to show out. Because they should. They always do against the shitty teams, and they should the next 3 weeks. The Seattle game is tougher. We're still better than them. Sorry, guys. So that's 4 games we got to win, and then we'll take on the Eagles. They're going to have a bye week, the Eagles, and then 4 tough fucking games. Us last. They get the Niners, the Chiefs. Who else do they get? They get 4 tough fucking teams. They're going to lose 2 of those. And we can start talking again what the situation is if we beat the Eagles that game. Oh, we take over. So, again, we'll talk about that. We might take over week 14 and we blow it week 15 and 16 and lose to the Bills and the Dolphins. What's the fucking use, right?
Yeah.
So,
and Seattle at home now.
Yeah, these are the games. You see them right there. 4 out of the next 5 home games. Carolina on the road, the worst team in the NFC. Come on, Cowboys. We got this. We got no. There's no excuses. Any losses here, it's going to be maybe we get out the first round. We might have to play San Francisco in the first round, and I don't see us getting out of the second round if we're losing to one of these teams here in the next couple of weeks. There's no way. Can't happen. Will not happen. That's that. Thank you all for joining us here. And, baby, I want you to tell everybody why we do this thing here an hour and a half tonight on My Cowboys Family on YouTube. Why do we do this each and every damn day and night?
I think it's because of that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything.
Yes, guys. Win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly. Here, we want that. We got 5. We want 6 and beyond. Here, we rep that star over everything. Also, as you can tell, guys, YouTube representation here, 6+ years, 7 years plus of doing these live stream reactions every Sunday for our games. Never forget, the number one thing right here, now and forever, as always, go Cowboys. Let's get that 6 and beyond. Thank you for dropping the knowledge in the chat, guys, all night long. Can't do this without your guys' love and support. Drop those emojis as we drop out of here. Thank you guys for your input, your insight, your thoughts on our Cowboys. Also, truly appreciate those that keep growing the channel through the love. All right? So appreciate you guys that drop the love from above, join the memberships, gifted memberships, cash app, super chats, however, whatever. Humbled. Thank you. Best fans of all YouTube. On that note, it is time now officially to clock out for the night. Drop out for the night here. Relock and reload tomorrow to talk about the Texas Coast offense versus this tiny Giants D. We'll talk about it all tomorrow and more here on My Cowboys Family. But baby, before we can drop out officially for the night, let everybody know what we got to do.
We got to drop the beat.
Woo! Held that one off for a second. How about them Cowboys, guys? Thank you for rocking with us. Thank you, baby, for encapsulating another great show after the bye day for you yesterday. I know you had an early day. So, hey, guys, we'll rock it back again tomorrow for more. Talk about this game and breaking it down in so many different ways. Join us again. Hit the like, hit subscribe, hit that bell. More importantly, yell loud as hell. Go Cowboys. And here on My Cowboys Family, MCF, another Cowboys chat in the books, may I add. Yes, it's a wrap here. Another night, another nice discussion about our matchup and what this team needs to do to go forward against the Giants. We'll talk about the other side of things tomorrow and more. Guys, thank you once again for repping that star with us over everything and getting in the conversation that we had brought today with all the news, info, and those updates. Here in MCF, you know why we do this here. It's about that navy blue, that silver too, that star for everything. Never, ever forget the number one thing right here on My Cowboys Family. Much love to everyone in the house, even the haters. Fuck the haters. Well, welcome in. Have a good night, guys. Stay safe, everybody. To everybody in the house, all the family, have a great night. Stay safe. Thank you for hitting that like button. Thank you for subscribing, growing the channel. Thank you for that notification bell, following us on all social media at My Cowboys Family. And thank you guys, as always, never ever forget, go Cowboys!
Monk on the beat.